All right, welcome to this client spotlight series with the wonderful, fabulous Allison Ingley, a physical therapist with her company Core Strong Physical Therapy. Allison, super happy to have you here today. How are you?
Doing amazing, hanging out outside in the plants and beauty and warmth, so it's wonderful.
It's lovely that it's warm in Ohio right now. I love that for you. So
Yeah.
cool. So I already mentioned you're a physical therapist, the name of your company, but tell us a little bit about um, what got you to here, like in your company, like what got you even to be a business owner?
So I think coronavirus kind of shook everybody, and my outpatient facility, I had been working in a hospital system for about 10 years. This one I was in was 5. When they closed down, I kind of decided that I didn't have any excuses not to do it. And so finally decided to do it and had absolutely no idea what to do. Kayla found me in another group, actually, because I was drowning over there. And she was like, why don't you come over here with us? And so I really, as I got into things, I just kind of was in the very much the mindset of like, you have to do all these things. And I was like, well, if I gave myself a very short timeline to make a whole bunch of money that I knew was ridiculous, like I was setting myself up for failure, and then I was putting myself in and if you do fail, it's because that one time on Tuesday you spent 10 minutes to play Uno with your son, and that's why. And so it was just, how dare you breathe for a second, and you went to the bathroom 3 times that day instead of just 2. Like, I mean, it was horrible. And so yelling at my kids constantly. And then when I kind of got into the mastermind group and I started hearing all these things and hearing how people's lives had changed and they're working so much less than they, all this stuff. And it was where I needed to be, because I was drowning and I needed a life vest. That's what I got.
Awesome.
So I did the level 1, and level 1 was amazing. And I was like, I need more of this.
Need more of that energy. I love it. So you finished level 1 and you decided to up level to level 2, which is awesome. We love having you so much. You guys, Allison is the GIF queen and it does amazing things, but also keeps the energy very, very light. What was it that, I don't know if you call it a problem or a struggle, what was your biggest concern? Like that coming into level 2?
Yeah. I knew I wanted to grow. I knew that I had this huge vision for what I wanted for pelvic health nationwide, but I knew I needed to start locally. And that's a vision that I've had since I started becoming a pelvic PT. And it was just this like, okay, I've worked on the mindset thing. Like I'm not where I was. And anybody who did our event before the level 1 group knows my story. And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out and ask me. But I wasn't in a good place. Much better with all of that after level 1. But it was just kind of like, okay, I have all of these things I want to do and where I see this business going. And in my mind, all of these things need to happen right this second. And I had no idea how to even go about it. And one of my struggles was the fact that like all of the mindset stuff that I had learned that was helping me in the day to day was not helping. Like I hadn't learned how to apply it yet in the long term. So things that don't happen, from Monday 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., I was like, well, I should have done this by now. And it was kind of like I needed more practice. I needed practice at applying this to bigger pictures. And I needed some logistical guidance on how I would have never thought of how to load a workshop and like develop your content after it's filled. Like none of that stuff would have occurred to me and I would have wasted a lot of time. So I distinctly remember being on the call with you where you were like, I mean, do you need this? You don't need this. Like you'll get there on your own, but like you'll probably get there faster. And I was like, well, I like faster. I want to do faster. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. And so it was probably not a difficult sell.
Not a difficult decision. Well, I love how you were saying you have this goal of revolutionizing the care for moms, how moms are cared for, pregnancy, postpartum, locally first and on a broader scale later. I love this vision. And you had gotten like the pieces, you know, from level one. You're like, okay, I'm starting to, you know, tackle these in small ways. And you were seeing this grander scale where you're like, oh, okay, hold on. Like, how do I keep going? And for sure, like, you're a super go-getter. Like, you made progress in level one that was unparalleled in terms of like turning the tables and flipping how you approach life and how it showed up in your business. Your business results were awesome. And for sure, like, so many people are like you, they could probably do it, you know, I mean, not even probably, could do it.
Right.
But what we find is there's this, you're so coachable, and like, that's what I love about you, but also like, all right, great, tell me how to go faster, tell me how to make it easier, what's the way to hack it, you know, like, I love that little thirst for knowledge behind those things too.
Yeah, I have a healthy respect for what I don't know. And I knew going into this that I never had a mentor going through public PT. It was kind of learn this stuff and you're on your own. And there's a lot of stuff that I can look back at now and be like, wow, if I had a mentor, I would have known not to do these things. So when I went into owning my business, I knew that like I need to outsource to the people who have been here and who know how to get where I want to go. And I want to do it in a way that is sustainable, because the entire point of working for myself is to not be killing myself the way that I had in the hospital. And so it's all well and good to want to have these goals, but if you're like every second of every day, it's what's occupying your life, like I would have never reached my goal of being able to enjoy my time with my family. And so like I have a healthy respect for what I don't know. And so when I have somebody who's like, I've been here before and this is how you do this, I'm like, sweet, I'm going to do it like that then, instead of just like trying to figure it out or going to the other groups where they're like, do your own research. Thanks, guys.
So that was what I was going to ask, like what type, so first of all, I love how you highlighted that you learned that the trial and error approach to clinical skill, in this case, like pelvic health, it got you somewhere, but there were a lot of errors, you know, and it's not, perfect is boring. It's not that we're going for perfect here, although you and I are both recovering perfectionists in so many ways, but there's an excellence piece. I want to be excellent, that you're not saying, but I can hear you saying that I just want to do a good job and I don't want to mess around not doing a good job. And so not that it's a race, but there's that efficiency piece to avoid the trial and error. Not to mention, I love how you did, I mean, I don't love how you did this. I love that it was a learning point that you're like, I did go to other groups. I did ask things. But tell me about that a little bit in terms of what you had tried to gain in other places to help with your goal and weren't working.
Right. So mostly what I did was I heard a lot of what other people were doing, and I was trying to gather ideas from a bunch of other people. And so I would go here and I would go there and I'd hear these ideas and it's like, oh, I like that. And I could apply it like this or whatever the case was. And then my list of all these amazing ideas got so long that I was like, and close that and just avoid it completely. And just like, it was so overwhelming. And I was like, we're not even going to go there. And so then I would sit down finally, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I would overanalyze and try, and I would fall back into my perfectionist practices of everything had to be perfect. The wording had to be perfect. The structure had to be perfect, because heaven forbid I start it and then have to go back and change something, which, by the way, my postpartum program that I haven't even announced yet, and I still have already 3 clients in it, I've changed my pricing 3 times on it already. Because they don't know, they're not calling each other, like, oh, hey, what else, and charge you? They don't know. And so, like, kind of learning how to, so like when you and I sat down and you're like, why are we still talking about this? Like, we talked about this. What is holding you back now? Because this is not like a structural thing here. This is like something else is going on that's like holding you from like pushing the go button and going. And I was like, yeah. And it was all those perfectionist tendencies of like having it be perfect, and it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be there to help people and get going with it.
Just start.
Just do it. And then fix it later if you need to.
I love that. That's such an important point that we teach in all the programs, but really hone in on in level 2, which is there's no perfect, there's no right, there's no it's gonna be ready when. It's just do it and use that as your learning ground. And we will walk beside you and cheer you on or redirect you when you get off course. And what you mentioned about pricing is so interesting. Pricing is such a hang up, not just for you, but for so many people. And a lot of times pick a price, go with it, test, retest. You know, we do that with everything else we do in our world. Like, why not this? And when you realize that was an easy yes, okay, raise the price, right? Like try, challenge yourself, make it a little harder, make it a little harder. And the only way to learn is to just do it. You can think about it, you can write about it, you can journal about it, you can meditate about it, you can ask 1,000 people for advice like you were doing. And what does that lead you to?
Overanalyzing all the time.
Overwhelmed, not doing anything, right? You just got to do it. I have people telling me all the time, like, oh, wait till I'm ready. What would you say about that?
Wait, you're never going to be ready. That doesn't exist. No. You know what's going to happen is you're going to wait and you're going to wait and you're going to wait until you don't have a choice, and you're going to have to do it. And so you're going to get to a point where it's like, wow, this really would have been a lot smoother if I would have just like started this earlier, and it could have been like a controlled, like not control, we can't ever have control, but like you could have been the one leading the charge versus like, now this has been thrust upon me and now I don't feel like I got to make a decision on this. So there's never a right time. You just need to do it.
I just asked someone this morning, how bad does it need to be for you to decide that it's finally time? Right? It was this sort of push and pull about, oh, well, you know, there might be a better time, or it already sucks right now. And I was like, okay, how much does it have to suck before you're going to say yes, you know? And it was like, oh, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop or to be like bleeding and dying before I'm finally like, I love how you said you're going to be forced.
Right. You're going to get there eventually. And the thing is that like, sometimes life is crazy. Sometimes you're in a crazy season of life and you're like, I need to get through the next 3 weeks, but then I want to do this. And that happens, right? And patients are going to be like that. And sometimes we're going to feel that way. But it's like, in general, if you're like, okay, now that season is over, those 3 weeks are over, and now you're like coming up with another reason, well, I just got to get past this. Well, I just got to get past, it's never going to end. Like, eventually you're going to have to say like, okay, I've got to do something. Because exactly how bad. Always something.
Right. Well, and I think that there's this piece of like martyrdom, right? I don't know if you identify with that at all, where it's like, I can't do something.
Put my martyrdom crown on.
I can't do this until everybody else is taken care of, and I've paid off all the things, and I've done all the, you know, I've checked off all the boxes, and then I'm allowed to do something, to invest in myself, to do whatever it is. Does that resonate with you?
Oh my goodness, yes. Oh yes. I feel like this was like me coming into the group. Like, well, I couldn't possibly spend that money on myself until it was really, my husband is my biggest supporter. And like so many times he's like, Allison, like, why would you not spend the money on this? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And he goes, okay, let's break this down. This is 2 evaluations a month. Do you think that going through this would get you 2 evaluations a month? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah. And he goes, why are we having this conversation? I'm like, okay.
Like I love your husband so much. I always want to hug him.
Yeah, he's the best.
So good. Not that you needed his permission, but
no.
Husbands can be great sounding boards sometimes, you know?
They can, because they let you hear how ridiculous you sound. When they like repeat it back, it's like, I for sure sound like a crazy person.
I sound like a crazy person. That's right. Okay, so you invested. What are some of the biggest upgrades you've experienced in your life? Let's start there.
So my family has noticed my change in mindset quite a bit, because now that I have been changing my thinking and how I approach things, and my level of perceived control and letting go of that was a big thing for me. And the rule of 3 was a big thing for me. And I continue to apply that to all of my, the way that I handle life. And it got to the point that like, I'm going to be honest, last week was a flippin' shit show in my family. With the car was broken down. The car we were going to borrow had a dead battery. Our garbage disposal broke. Like all of these things in like a 48-hour period. And my son Tanner, as we were driving to go drop off his brother's soccer stuff at a friend's house because he forgot his soccer stuff that he was supposed to take with him. So now one more trip for me. Tanner tells me like, Mom, I'm like really impressed. You're really calm right now. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, I mean, this type of stuff usually makes you really mad and you're usually yelling by this point. And I was like, all right, I've been feeling better for long enough that my family is like noticing a difference in how I respond to things, which I think is the biggest thing ever.
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry.
It was amazing. Yeah. And then I feel like because I have changed the way that I'm interacting with my family, and I'm not killing myself at work, which leaves me more capacity for my family, which is a huge thing. And then yesterday at the grocery store, my 3-year-old was being the sweetest thing in the world, because they can be either like the sweetest thing or demons. It's never in the middle. It's one or the other. And she tells me, she looks at me and she grabs my face and it's like this, and she goes, Mommy, you're my whole world, everything. And I'm like, oh, my heart just stopped. I know. And then we were on our way to soccer last night, and Tanner and I were talking about something, and he goes, I'm really proud of you, Mom. You are a strong, majestic woman. And I was like, you're my favorite person in the world.
Oh God. Hold on. Let me wipe the tears that are coming out. That is so beautiful. Your kids, like, how does it feel?
Oh.
Other than you're my favorite person on the planet, which they obviously are. How does that feel?
It feels amazing to know that I am modeling a behavior of how to handle stress that they can then learn from and not live most of their life the way that I had, in this over anxious, stressed out. I have every second of every day planned, and if it doesn't go that way, then the whole day is crap. They don't have to live that way, because they're seeing that we can meet adversity and we can choose how we respond to that. And that, to me, makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, we can meet adversity and choose how we respond to that. The pediatric and teen little person inside of me, expert, is like, oh my God, this is why, right? This is it right here. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, so those are the most amazing life upgrades ever. What about business upgrades?
Yes. So one of the things that I struggled with, as you know, was my the consistent stream of patients. That was one of the things that I always really, really struggled with. And not so much receiving a consistent stream of patients, believing that I would get a consistent stream of patients. I know, it seems ridiculous now. But it was kind of more a lot of the repetition is good for me. And then having the conversations especially when I was what a random week, all these patients scheduled and I'm super full. And then I was like, was it random, or was it all of this work and all the things that you have learned and the systems that you've put in place to get people to A, know you exist, B, want to schedule with you? My conversion rate of talking to people on the phone, when they have a discovery call with me, is 90%, which I know means my prices are probably too low. I probably should raise them a little bit. But I would say one of the biggest things is just I have trust in myself that I can do this, which after level 1, I could see myself doing this, but I didn't have trust in myself that it would happen. So that was probably one of the biggest ones.
Wow.
The other one was recognizing that there is a logistical component to some of the things I want to do. There is a best practice of running a workshop, of filling a class, of starting programs, all of that type of thing, which I've done a lot of workshops, and I had never once done it the way that you had recommended. And then most recently I did, and I was like, wow, I spent I'm at about 7% as much time as I did on the previous workshops. Why in the world was I killing myself over this? Developing all of my stuff and all, and so it was just a totally
It used to
different.
be easier.
Yeah, so much easier. So understanding the logistics of like, there is a best practice here of like how you can save yourself some time and some energy, and that like that's a big component for me. I would say those are the biggest.
Two biggest things. Number one, it's not, or really three. Number one is not the consistency in patients. I actually don't love the word consistency because it means sameness. And then when we have like a little dip, we freak out. It's more like flow, all right? Like not that the actual flow of patients, but the belief in the flow. Our beliefs create our results, which is what we teach in this program, in both programs, but really way more here. And if you have to believe it first. Number two, trusting yourself to be able to hold the container for that belief, right? Which is, okay, I could see myself creating the flow of patients, but I actually trust myself to make it happen. That's so beautiful. I think that's where a lot of people coming out of level one are. You're not alone. I've heard this from a lot of level one people is, okay, I'm committed to that change. I know it can happen, but I don't actually 100% believe it, that it can, right? You were totally there. And what would you say to someone now?
You have to let go of the idea of control, and you have to trust that the stuff that you're doing is going to work. Because as a sprinter, I've always been going through my life as a sprint. I want the things that I did on Monday to affect what I see on Tuesday, and it's not how it works. It's the things I did in January affect the things that I'm seeing in May. And it's like giving yourself that, trusting in yourself that this is going to be slow and steady and it's okay, and letting go of like controlling the environment, because that is something I really struggled with. And when I finally kind of was like, you know what, I'm doing good things, I'm putting good into the world, it will be rewarded back to me at some point whenever the universe sees fit to do so, and I'm still going to be here to help anybody who needs my help. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, I came across your website, or, oh, I heard from so-and-so, or, oh, this, or, oh, that, or I'm like, I have no idea even who that person is, but okay, cool, let's work together, So.
That's amazing. Okay, so trusting what first of all, slowing down your expectation of your timeline, right? And also letting go of control of needing to have certainty in your, I did X, I need to see Y happen immediately. And if it didn't, then that's freaking failure, right? And letting go of control. Oh my gosh, like I love what you said earlier. We didn't actually have control. It's actually the illusion of control. Like the belief about control is the thing to let go of, not because we don't actually have control over anything. And then what I want to get to the workshop thing, which we'll get to in a second. But what I haven't asked you, haven't said in terms of your business upgrades is, so you did level one like 6 months ago when it concluded. And then you're in level two now on month 4. How full is your schedule?
Oh, pretty darn. So I would like to see 16 patients a week, and I have the maximal capacity for 21 if I book everything as tightly as I feel comfortable doing so. I don't have any openings until June 7th. And
that's, for people watching this later, that's 2.5 weeks from now.
Yes, 2.5 weeks from now. And on top of that, because of how I wish to run my postpartum program and coming into women's homes after they have babies, I don't have the capacity in my schedule to allow for these new arrivals to get in on my schedule now that I'm 2 weeks out, because my clinic schedule is full. Therefore, I am in the process of looking to hire a new PT who has already been interning with me, so it will be a quick turnaround because we anticipate it will be a quickly needed thing once we actually launch the program, because I am really really wanting to stick by my self boundaries. I'm setting a boundary with myself that I am not going to open up my schedule to accommodate other people who cannot get onto it. So that means I need to have somebody else who can take them.
So you heard it here, guys. 6 months ago, she started her business, and here she is, 2.5 weeks booked out, can't even run her new program because she's too full, is hiring someone. The someone already exists because you just rock. And the person who sees life as a sprint but decided to slow down still went faster than she believed. Did I hit it? Did I summarize that?
That is accurate. That is accurate. I have to like pinch myself sometimes too, because I feel like sometimes it's like if something is going well in one area, it's not going well in another area. But like my business growth is going amazing. And then I go into my client care sessions and like I want to put exclamation points in my patients' notes because they're doing awesome. And I'm like, I come home and my kids are telling me like, you're my whole universe. You're a strong, majestic woman. I'm like, when is this what's gonna happen next? Like everything's going too good right now.
So that was gonna be actually a question. So, all right, there's all of this amazingness happening. Be real with us for a second. Like what little voices come up about the amazingness?
A little bit of it is that like, well, first I know nothing lasts forever. Anything, the worst point I've ever been in my entire life, I am not there currently. The best point I've ever been in my entire life, I'm not there currently. So I do know that how great things are right now are going to change. But it's almost like a joke of like, ooh, when's it going to change? But at the same time, I kind of know like, even if it does, I'm going to be responding to it totally differently now. So I'm not really scared that it's going to change because I'm not going to, a lot of people would have looked at my week last week and been like, well, how could you not be upset about that? That was a flippin' shit show. And it's like, we figured it out. It was fine. You know,
nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, nothing lasts forever. We were lucky to have a car to borrow. We were lucky to have neighbors who had jumper cables that could get us going. I was lucky to have, you know, I knew where all my son's stuff was and I could drop it off and I didn't have patience, so I was able to do that. Like, I got pretty lucky last week.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so what you just hit on was the only true certainty in our world, which is change.
Mm-hmm.
There's always change. There's up, down, ebb, flow. And when we talk about consistency in your client load, right? Isn't that so funny that we say consistent, which is the brain's safety net. It's like, I want it to be the same. The lizard brain doesn't like change, yet it's the only thing that's true in humanhood is change. Everything's always up, down, changing, flowing. And so you're totally doing an amazing job of going into the flow, just being in it on a surfboard. Sometimes the waves are super rocky, sometimes it's smooth, right? And that's so beautiful. Okay, workshops. Okay, so I love how you said, oh, I could do this with 7% of the effort. Do more with less is totally what we teach in level 2. What you didn't say, and I'm curious about, how fun was it?
Oh my God, I love workshops. Oh, I love workshops. And I love it way more when I'm not running a PowerPoint.
Same. PowerPoints are so 1995.
They really are. Yes. Unless I'm preaching to like a geriatric crowd, I'm not running a PowerPoint. And I'm not preaching to a geriatric crowd. So it was awesome. And it was so much easier because like I was talking, like I've come to learn, because one of the big things that you and I kind of worked through a lot was my comfort level with talking to people on copywriting and getting out of the PT brain and getting more into the patient client brain. And what finally clicked with me when we did some copywriting together was that like I was a patient. I was my own patient. I was my first patient. And I know what it feels like to be a patient. And so it's so much easier for me to talk about my story and apply it to how they might feel because I know how they feel. And people find some comfort in knowing that you know stuff, but quite frankly, like you can give that through stories, not like, and then I'm going to do manual therapy for this thing, and then I'm going to do dry needling for that thing. Like they don't need that. They need to know that like, okay, you couldn't have sex with your husband and now you can. They don't care how you got there, you know? Right. And so that is so much easier at a workshop to sit here and just talk about, hey, this was my story. This is how I got here. These are some of the people that I've helped. I want to teach you guys a couple of things. And the reason I want to do it is because I think it could help you with this, this, and this. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Boom.
I love it. You just touched on a really interesting point. Couple of things. First of all, your story is your number one resume point, like credibility piece. And there's not a clinical course, there's not a certification, there's not a treatment technique or a coaching technique that will ever replace that. And or a price or a program that you design or anything like that. And that's that point of connection that gets people to trust you. And the other point that you touched on was that's not what they buy. And I have a coach who actually says, you're selling the destination, not the plane.
I like that.
When you think about it, like in that actual metaphor, when you buy a plane ticket, you're buying the destination. Like you literally don't even enter what type of plane you want to fly on. You can search, but that's not what people search by. You don't buy the plane.
No.
And like, I want the first class seat, then you can kind of choose what the process looks like. But yeah, that's so beautiful. And you guys need to go check out Allison. She did a video of her most recent workshop. And the thing that caught my attention, which I told her, was she's like dancing and miming as she tells her story. I thought it was this hilarious TikTok video that she posted. And I was like, oh my God, Allison's doing TikToks. And it was just her in her workshop being hilarious. Hilariousness is a great selling point. People love it. Good. So good. Well, all right. So one last question, maybe two last questions. If you could go back and tell, well, for level 2, were there any concerns or obstacles you needed to overcome to sign up for it?
I knew pretty well that I wanted to do it. The biggest thing that I wanted to know was what was going to be different. I was fine doing it, but it was like, do I really need this guidance or could I figure it out myself? And so the price point for me actually wasn't the issue because I already knew I was willing to invest in it. And I knew how I was going to pay for it. But for me, it was like, is this something that is actually going to teach me the things that I need to know, the stuff that I don't know? And like, we got some of the logistical stuff in level 1, and it was a lot of mindset, which I knew I needed. So that's why I kind of already trusted the whole process. But my biggest question was like, am I really gonna, like, what else could she teach me? I guess is what the question was. What else could there be? Because, you know, you run a workshop. I did not know that there are really different ways to do things. And I had no idea how much my previously practiced patterns would sneak up on some of these other things that I wasn't expecting them. And so, but I think that my biggest hesitancy was just kind of knowing what was different. And I think we covered a lot of that on the call. And I can say now, being some months into it, like, yeah, pretty freaking different. There's a lot of stuff there. I have like my Google Doc of like all of our like coaching calls and everything like that. And it's like 8 pages long, like with every question and answer session. I was like, oh, Jackie's asking this. Okay, let me look at that. Oh, Kayla's asking that. Like, it's so much applicable stuff that you just don't know you don't know. And I'm a knowledge junkie, so I like it.
I didn't know I had this question, but you just reminded. This is why a group is so helpful. I didn't know I had that question. Speaking of I don't know what I don't know, tell me about how you feel about a group container.
Oh my gosh.
What do you like about it?
Oh my gosh, the group is my favorite component of all of it. Like, I love our Facebook group and I love our group calls because, like, someone will ask a question and it's a question that I didn't even know I had, but it's something like when you start talking to me, like, that is the same thing that's been stumping me. It's just I didn't realize that that's where that question was coming from. Like, I wouldn't have been able to ask the question. Yeah, like, but when you said the answer was like, that would totally fix this problem. Like, why, like, and I didn't even know how to like verbalize the question. So being in a group environment, I think has been one of the most helpful things, because I feel like when you're by yourself, and even in a one-on-one calls, you kind of get tunnel vision of like, this is the one thing I want to talk about. But it's like, you might have like 15 things on your head, and you go into a group call and it's like, oh, well, there's 8 of them checked off the list. All right, sweet. So
it's like the variety pack of questions versus, the one-on-one calls are great to really dive deep on maybe 2 things and really get a lot out of it. But the group one, you walk away with your variety pack of answers of things you never knew you needed, but you need for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say, parting thoughts, to anyone who is the old version of yourself, debating whether to enroll or not, is where they are in level 1, looking into, I'm not sure I can do this or anything like that?
Yeah. Coming out of level 1 gets you really, really good. Going into level 2 takes you to great. It just does. Like, there's a lot that you can figure out for yourself, especially if you've really done the work. Like, if you really, like, I mean, I literally, and I'm not saying if you didn't cry, you didn't do the work. That's not what I'm saying. But I literally in level 1, like for the first 3 weeks, was like sobbing in bed when I realized these practice patterns were things that were just not resonating with who I wanted to be. So if you really do the work, you're going to be okay after level 1. Absolutely. But you can be great with level 2. And if you want greatness for yourself, and you want greatness for your clients, and you want greatness for your community, which I think most of us are really interested in, is helping our community get better, this is where you want to be, because it teaches you how to take that stuff and really develop a community of like-minded people who take responsibility for their health, and you can do it on a broader scale instead of just helping your one-to-one clients.
Take responsibility for their health. There's something so interesting also, because I don't know if you would agree with me, but the level 2 group takes responsibility for their lives and their businesses. We become that which we are, but also that which we surround ourselves with. And so you can embody that with the help of a group, and humans are meant to have community. And then you can then take what you're embodying from this group and give it to your universe, to your world, whoever it is you serve, and your family. I mean, who else wants to be a majestic woman?
Strong, majestic woman. I really am.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah. And
I would say level 1 was a lot of great work as an individual. Level 2, like, I have never met Christina Den in my life, not in person. And like, I could get off a plane and she could meet me there, and I would run over and give her a hug and be like, how are your neuro patients doing? What is going on with your new program? Like, I know what's going on in her business, in her career, in her life. And she knows the same about me. She knows that I have kids and that we're busy and I do pelvic floor and that I'm doing my postpartum program. Like, we are all, it's like, when you're an entrepreneur, it can be very isolating. And these are your colleagues, these are your coworkers, these are the people that you spend all day with. They like get to know you, and you get to know them and care about them, and it's really supportive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That being in that type of container, I'm in one of my own. I'm like, hey, when are we going on vacation together? Like, I know everything about you. When are we doing that? It's that level of beautiful connection.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, Allison, we could do this all day, and we probably will. So thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. And thanks for sharing your story so that others can see what's possible for them, that there's not just hope, but like a path, and that likely, if they're brave and open to it, it will be bigger and better and greater, like you said, than they could ever imagine.
Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to help at any time. I think back to where I was a year ago. I think back to where I was 9 months ago. I don't want to be that person. I'm so grateful to not be that person anymore, to be thinking about this differently and not be such a miserable, non-majestic woman. So I'm happy with where I am now.
I'm gonna get you a t-shirt that says majestic or strong majestic
Strong
woman.
majestic woman. I would love that.
T-shirts and bumper stickers. I love it. All right. Well, thanks again, Allison. We'll have to have you back in 6 to 9 months so you can give us an update on, you know, now where you are, like conquering the world for pregnant and postpartum people.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
I will